For 60 years, a dead man stood in a carnival funhouse. Thousands walked past him. Not one person realized he was real. Imagine walking into a room and feeling watched. Not by the living, but by a silence so heavy it has physical weight. That was the air in 1976 on the set of The $6 Million Man. A grip. A man whose job is to move the heavy things spots something he wasn't meant to see. A mannequin, hanging from a noose in the corner, painted bright orange. He smirks. Cheap Halloween scare. But then, his eye catches a frayed thread. He reaches out to adjust the prop. His fingers graze the arm. It's not cold plastic. It's not wood. It's leathery. And the instant he applies pressure, the arm snaps clean off at the elbow. A sickening, dry crack. The arm hits the floor with a sound that's wrong. Too light, hollow. The grip looks up. A scab has flaked off the mannequin's cheek, and staring back at him, just inches away, are human teeth, dried back into a hideous, eternal grimace. Panic subsides into a morbid curiosity. How does a dead man end up hanging in a funhouse? The body is taken to a county morgue. It's 1976. Man had walked on the moon. But Dr. Thomas Noguchi, the coroner to the stars, has never seen a specimen like this. The body is mummified, desiccated. The skin, like ancient beef jerky. The doctors x-ray at first. The film develops, and confusion sets in. Inside the chest cavity, floating where the lungs should be, is a solid, dark mass. A bullet. Homicide. But that wasn't the only secret his body held. They sliced into the soft tissue. The lab reports came back screaming. His veins and arteries weren't filled with embalming fluid. They were saturated with arsenic. Gallons of it. This man didn't just die. He was preserved. Pickled. Like a specimen. Who shoots a man, then pumps him so full of poison he becomes a statue? The answer won't be found in the future. It's buried deep in the dirt of the Old West. To understand this horror, you have to go back. Back to when the man on the table was a boy. Elmer McCurdy, born 1880. His mother was barely a child herself, 17 years old. She didn't want a son. She wanted an escape. So she wrapped him in a thin blanket, left him with her brother, and vanished like smoke. Elmer's first lesson: you are a burden. The uncle takes him to Maine. Stability, but stability isn't love. He grows up awkward, a drifter in his own home. He learns plumbing. He learns that a pipe wrench fits perfectly in a hand that's never held a father's. He's looking for a place to belong. He finds it in a bottle. The army calls. It's 1907. He isn't a great soldier, but he's a functional one. He learns explosives, nitroglycerin, the delicate art of handling things that want to kill you. They discharge him in 1911. He's back to square one. So he lies. He decides, I'm not a plumber anymore. I'm a train robber. He's 31 years old. He's not a Wild West outlaw. He's a sad, drunk, sad man with a gun. He targets the Pacific Express. He uses too much explosive, blows the safe door clean off, but gets away with $4,000 in coins. So heavy, the bag almost drowns him. This is where the universe delivers Elmer's death warrant. October 1911. He's sleeping in a haystack, hungover. He sees a train stopped in Oklahoma. He thinks it's carrying a fortune. It isn't. It's carrying passengers. Mistake number 1. He plants the nitro. The explosion isn't a heist. It's an insult. He boards the train, but his hands are shaking. So he does what any rational, amateur robber does. He pops open a whiskey barrel in the baggage car and gets drunk. Not a sip, not a shot. He marinates himself. He stumbles through the cars, slurring his demands. By the time he realizes the big safe is empty, the posse is already riding. They find him. Elmer makes a stand behind a rock. The sheriff calls out. Elmer yells back, "You'll never take me alive." The sheriff doesn't flinch. A single shot rings out, and a bullet, one that cost maybe 5 cents, severs Elmer's thoracic artery. He dies in a dusty shack. The coroner, a man named Johnson, sees an opportunity. No one claimed the body, so he makes a choice that changes history. He shaves Elmer, puts him in a suit, propped him up in the funeral parlor. He pumped him full of arsenic until he was a human statue. Then he hung a sign, "See the outlaw who died defiant. 5 cents. And so, the man who wanted money in life finally made money in death. For 5 years, he stood in that funeral parlor. But Johnson wasn't a museum curator. He was a businessman. When 2 carnies walk in with $500, Johnson wraps up the mummy, shakes their hands, and Elmer McCurdy hits the road as a sideshow prop. He travels the country. Nobody knows he's real. For decades, he stands in dark corners. His skin hardens. He's sold to a wax museum. They glue a wig on his head. He stands next to wax figurines of Jesse James. And slowly, history forgets the man and remembers only the dummy. He's rented to haunted houses. Teenagers jab him with sticks. Paint sprayers coat him in phosphorescent orange because the dark ride's UV lights need him to glow. They string him up with a cheap rope, a punchline, a joke. But you have to wonder, trapped in that rigid, glassy shell, was Elmer still in there? Listening to the screams of laughing children, frozen forever. 1976. The grip on set has just snapped off the arm. The police aren't investigating a prank anymore. They're investigating a murder. Forensic anthropologist Dr. Clyde Snow gets the call. He lays the body on the table, and he does something strange. He looks in the mouth. Wedged deep at the back of the throat is a 1924 penny. Time of death, post-1924. Next, they cut open the material wrapped around him. It's a suit, a cheap suit, and in the pocket, a faded, crumpled receipt. The paper is tissue thin. They flatten it out under glass. Printed on the paper, Elmer McCurdy, Museum of Crime. He had his name in his pocket the entire time. But the receipt was just the map. The bullet from the X-ray was the key. They dig into the mummified chest. They pull out the .32 caliber slug. They match it to a Colt revolver. And they match the ballistics to a dusty 1911 sheriff's report. The man who died with no name finally had his story stitched back together. The investigation was closed. There was no murder to solve, just a body to bury. But even in death, Elmer almost became a prop again. A funeral home offered to pay for the burial if they could first display his casket in their window for a week. A final circus. The state of Oklahoma said no. April 22nd, 1977. 66 years after a bullet stole his life, Elmer McCurdy went home. They dug a hole in Summit View Cemetery, but this time, the curiosity seekers didn't come with pitchforks. They came with flowers. Over 200 cars lined up, a parade for a man nobody loved while he breathed. They were terrified someone would steal him again. So, the funeral director poured 2 cubic yards of concrete directly on top of the casket. A seal, a promise. No more wandering, no more dark rides, no more fluorescent paint. Just silence. The kind he never had. We chase fame. We chase riches. Elmer McCurdy chased it until his veins were filled with poison and his skin turned to leather. He stood on display for 60 years, and nobody recognized him. Not his face, not his humanity. It's a clever irony, isn't it? The only time Elmer McCurdy was ever truly seen was when they finally closed the lid. Good night, Elmer.